Hello and welcome to very beautiful Cove.
Absolutely spectacular. Neither of us have been here before. Tom's very excited because he's never actually stepped foot in the Republic of Ireland.
No, and it's been a fantastic sailing. Unusual because the ship had to do some unusual manoeuvres, but we're in and it's been a good day.
If you're new to our channel, we are Tom and Dom Travel and we release a cruise related video every week, so make sure you hit that subscribe button and don't forget to give us a like.
As we are docking around midday in Cove today, we decided that we didn't need to get up too early, and when we eventually did get up, we headed straight for breakfast.
We went to the Borough Market up on deck 12. It was a little bit busy, but not as busy as we thought it was going to be. I think everybody else had the same idea because it was such a late arrival in Cove. Everybody sort of took it a little bit easy. There were seats available and we got a nice seat right by the window.
For breakfast today, I had my usual bacon, sausage, beans and hash browns. Really tasty, but just enough to fill me up to last me through the day.
I opted for some cereal and some fruit juices. They've got quite an extensive range and variety of cereals. However, I just prefer plain old boring cornflakes.
Full of excitement this morning.
By now, we were approaching Cove and the sailing was absolutely spectacular.
It's a really good sailing. We weren't expecting it at all, and it does seem like quite a challenging sailing because there is quite a few manoeuvres that needed to be done. The area around Cove and some of the surrounding towns and villages look really beautiful from the ship on the sailing.
It's quite a narrow little channel, so we did get really quite close to the land. It was quite incredible. We sailed past a lighthouse and it was just spectacular as we entered the channel.
After we watched sailing, we headed down to the Botanical Lounge because we did not want to miss one of those vignettes that we keep talking about, and this time it was a vignette all about the game of quoits.
We managed to get a seat right at the front on the big table.
So we were nice and close up. It was just hilarious, it really was, and they had the whole crowd in the Botanical Lounge laughing.
Another absolutely fantastic performance by the actors on board. And once again, if you are on board and they are performing, make sure you go because it is just something so different. And top tip, get there early.
Okay, so by this time we were docked in Cove, so it was time to get back to the cabin, grab our stuff and head off the ship.
On our first sea day, we queued at destination services to book an excursion to Blarney Castle. Now, the IT system had gone down, so the representative behind the desk took our name, cabin, details of the excursion we wanted to go on. We hadn't heard anything regarding the booking. Then a couple of days ago, we popped into destination services because there wasn't a queue, just to ask, oh, we haven't had our tickets, what's going on? And we were abruptly told, oh, I'm sorry, it was full.
What she did suggest was to come along on the day and see if there were any space. So we went down to the destination services team and asked them was there anything available, and it was an abrupt no. And
that was it.
That was it.
So we made our way to the gangway and thought we'll just explore the area independently. On the gangway, it's quite an unusual little setup in Cove because they've got two little floating pontoons that you have to walk across in order to get onto the shore side. Really quite interesting because there were so many people just freely walking past. Really unique compared to other ports of call that we've ever been to. The fact that the general public can just walk up to pretty much the gangway. Really interesting.
Yeah. And it was busy. There was a lot of people out to come and see the ship. Now, Ambience is the first ship to call in Cove this season, so I think there was a lot of excitement. There were people on the dockside in traditional costumes and they looked fantastic.
There was an incredible turnout from the residents of Cove. There were bands, music playing, a really good atmosphere, and we did feel very welcome. We then made our way around the Heritage Centre and the train station. So that's quite handy to know, the fact that if you do dock in Cove, the train station is right there, and so is the Cove Heritage Centre that's got all history history and information about the town, and also it sort of tells the story of its links to the Titanic. If you didn't already know, Cove used to be called Queenstown, and it was the last port of call for the Titanic before it set sail across the Atlantic.
What we did spot is that there was a train due in to take us to Cork, so we decided, since we didn't have an excursion anymore, to jump on the train and head into Cork itself. We got in the platform just in time, but not enough time to buy a ticket. So the platform manager said to us, just jump on the train and you can still buy your tickets when you get into Cork itself.
Now, I think he only did that because it was a port day and the ship was in and the platform was incredibly busy. There were only 2 ticket machines and there was a queue and the train was literally about to go.
The train was exactly on time. It was a good journey, probably took us about 25 minutes to get into Cork itself. Some beautiful views from on the train. Nearly every part of the journey was next to water in some way. We even spotted some seals out of the trains, which was great to see. The train wasn't too full, so we managed to get a seat together next to the windows.
Transport for Ireland have got a really quite useful app that sort of combines train time, bus times, tram times, and you could download the app. When we arrived at Cork train station, you do have to present your tickets to the barrier in order to exit the platform. Unfortunately, because we didn't have a ticket, we had to speak to the guard. And again, he was really, really nice. He just sort of opened the barrier and directed us to the ticket machine where we did buy our return ticket.
From Cork train station, it is quite a walk into the city centre itself. I'd say about a 15-minute walk, although pretty flat.
Cork is Ireland's second largest city, and you will find pretty much every single shop you could possibly imagine. So it's ideal for all those shopping lovers out there.
And if you do love shopping, it is great to see the difference, what it is in the UK to Ireland, and that some of the names of stores that you would normally recognise on a UK high street have different names in Ireland. For example, Primark is called Pennies, and Poundland is called Deals.
So you can see how we spent our day.
So yeah, we did have a little wander around some of the shops and things. We did find Ireland to be a little bit more expensive than the UK. Even though everything was priced in euros, it was slightly more expensive. So we did look at a few different options to get a snack and something to eat. For example, we tried in McDonald's and we also tried in Cafe Nero. Both of those seemed to be a little bit too expensive for the snack that we wanted. So we came across a department store called Dunn's. They had a cafe on their ground floor where they were doing a fantastic deal where we got a hot chicken baguette and a drink for €4.25.
Now this was an absolute find because, like Tom said, we did find pretty much everything you can get in the UK. It was just a little bit, perhaps 25-50% more expensive for some reason. It was really strange.
Altogether we spent about 2 hours in Cork and we timed it just right so we could get back on the train to Cove.
We retraced our route back to the train station and arrived about 15 minutes before our train was due to depart.
So it was very easy to get back on the train. Luckily we just missed a heavy rain shower. We jumped on the train, found a seat really easily, and we were back in Cove in no time.
In Cove, the weather was absolutely beautiful, so we took the opportunity just to have a little walk into the main town area, and it was really, really quite surprising.
Cove is a lovely little town with lots of little shops and pubs. It did seem to be a really, really busy day in the town. There is the Titanic experience there as well, being the last port of call for the Titanic. We didn't go and visit it this time because we shall be back in a few months on our Island Princess cruise. So I think that is our plan for them. What we did do, we had a little walk around the park that they've got there, and there was a musician there playing and singing in the bandstand, beautiful Victorian bandstand, and there were lots of activities going on around.
Cove really did give sort of traditional Victorian seaside town vibes, didn't it?
Yeah.
The buildings and all of the sort of decor were just beautiful. Just seemed like a really nice tourist seaside destination.
It's definitely worth a visit, and we would probably say, thinking back, that it's you're probably better off spending your day in Cove than heading to Cork, unless you did really want to do some shopping.
In Cove, they've got that beautiful cathedral right at the top of the hill.
Yeah. After our wander around Cove itself, we headed back onto the ship, where we headed to afternoon tea.
We made it just in time for afternoon tea, and once again they had a beautiful selection, and today they had sausage rolls, so I was very, very happy.
So you did have quite a few sausage rolls. Other things available are toasties, scones, finger sandwiches and a selection of cakes.
After some tea and light refreshments, we then made our way back to our cabin to get ready for the evening. Once we got ready, we literally headed straight back out onto the top deck to watch the sail away from Cove.
It was pretty windy up there, but it was definitely worth going up there just as we sailed away from Cove. There was a band playing on the port itself. There were people in those Victorian dresses again. There were lots and lots of people, whether they were locals or just visiting, but lots of people on the dock to wave us off. That was fantastic. What a send-off we had.
The sail away out of the channel and into the Irish Sea was absolutely, once again, spectacular, especially as we had such good weather. I was so lucky.
Really, really lucky, because not long after we got back inside, it once again started pouring down with rain.
As soon as we got into the Irish Sea, it just went a little bit crazy.
It was at this point there was an announcement by the captain, who gave us the very, very bad news that we were going to miss not one but two of our next ports. So tomorrow we are due to be in the Scilly Isles, and then the day after we're due to be in Guernsey. Both of those are cancelled due to an approaching storm and strong winds. And as we are now out at sea, you can really feel the movement of the ship.
Ambience is trying to stay ahead of the storm and make our way to Cherbourg as quick as possible.
Yeah, Cherbourg is our alternative. We should be arriving there late tomorrow, probably about 7 p.m, doing an overnight and then spending the full day there the following day to shelter from the storm. So in all honesty, that is not ideal for us. Part of booking this cruise was to go to some of those ports that we would never normally be able to get to, and for us the Scilly Isles and Guernsey are two of those. Yes, we are a little disappointed, but we do definitely understand that safety is a priority, and we'd rather be somewhere safe than put anyone at risk.
We were actually in Raffles when the captain made his announcement, because we hadn't gone in there, and previously we've mentioned in some of the bars in the Botanical Lounge, in Raffles and in the Purple Turtle, they have their own signature drinks as well as the standard ambassador menu on board. So we wanted to go into Raffles to try some of those little cocktails and experience some of the ambience.
Yeah, I had a Strongbow margarita, I think it's called. It's unusual, is probably the best way to describe it, and it's not something I'd rush to have again.
And I had a blue mixed berry drink, and it was okay. It was different. It was very, very blue.
Very blue. It was something to try, and we can say we've tried it now. From Raffles, we then headed straight to the Buckingham Restaurant, where we had our usual table at 8:15 for dinner.
No fuss, straight in. I'm really enjoying how efficient a set dining time is, even though our dining time is a little bit later for us. It's still made the whole process relatively stress-free.
Our waiter arrived straight at the table in no time at all. So thank you very much, Ikodak. He's been giving us great service all through this cruise. He knows now that we tend to drink the signature red wine, so that was there ready and waiting for us. After that, we put in our order and we went straight onto our appetizer.
We both opted for the pork.
It wasn't quite what we were expecting, but for me it was quite tasty.
So it was like a pork pate, had a layer of fat across the top, came with a little bit of toasted bread, and it was okay. I think I managed to eat about half of it.
Yeah, I ate majority of mine and I didn't find it too bad at all. I then unusually skipped the soup course and went for coronation chicken salad, and that was the best salad I've had on board so far. That's the first time I've probably eaten the whole salad. I really, really enjoyed it.
I stayed with the soup course and I had the spring vegetable soup, and it was delicious once again. Really, really good consommes and soups on board.
For my main course, I went for the beef stroganoff. The beef was very tender in this stroganoff. The rice was beautiful. I found it really, really good. Tonight I'm having a good night and the food has been very good.
For my evening meal, I opted for the chicken Kiev. It was a little bit different than the traditional chicken Kievs you would have back at home. It came on the bone, with mashed potato and gravy, and it was absolutely delicious. I would never have thought of having a chicken Kiev with gravy.
This is your third meal now that you've had unexpected gravy, so it's becoming a theme, but you've enjoyed them all, haven't you?
Yeah, been absolutely delicious, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Really, really nice.
Then for dessert, once again it finished really well for me. I had crepe Suzette. It was beautifully tasty, really enjoyed it. That's one of my favourite desserts and it went down perfectly.
For my dessert, I chose to go for the tiramisu, and it was absolutely delicious. Thoroughly enjoyed it. You can really taste the alcohol in it.
There we go. Once again, we were offered tea and coffee at the end of our meal, but as usual, we chose not to take it up because we wanted to head out because we do feel like we're missing bits and bobs around the ship. So we were headed back to Raffles bar to see what was going on in there.
Unfortunately, the pianist was playing.
Yeah, so Jamie Lees is the pianist on board and he does different themes each night on his sets. What we saw of him tonight, it was fantastic, and we need to make sure we go back and see him again because his sets do tend to be quite short. He does 3 different sets a night, so it's worth checking the times he's on.
After a couple of drinks in Raffles, it was time to make our way to the Palladium Theatre for tonight's performance of Dance, Dance, Dance with special guest presenter Anton Du Beke.
Yeah, so it's important to know that Anton Du Beke is not there in person. He was pre-recorded on the screen, but they made fantastic use of the bits that he presented and the in-action part of the team. It was quite difficult because we were moving quite a lot in our seats because the weather was rough and you could tell there was a lot of movement on the ship, but they kept it together, and I think that's probably one of their most energetic performances we've seen. And for me, I like a bit of dance, so it worked out really well. We really enjoyed that show.
There was a huge variety of different dances, and the entertainment team on board were absolutely spectacular, really, really talented. They all got involved. So this was the first time we'd ever experienced this type of show, and it was really quite entertaining and interesting, really. So if you're on board and they're performing, we highly recommend you go and see it. The theatre was very, very busy, even for a second showing.
On this cruise, it is worth saying that the first showing has tended to be busier than the second showing, so it is worth making sure you get there earlier if you are on that first seating. After the show, we headed straight up to the observatory because we just fancied one drink before bed. It Takes Two were performing once again, fantastic Welsh duo, definitely worth spending some time with them. We only caught the end of their set, unfortunately, because we were in the show before, which does keep tending to happen to us. We keep catching the ends of everyone's show because of how our plan works out due to our later dining time. So it is something worth thinking about what time you go for dinner. We sat there and had a chat to a couple of our fellow passengers in the observatory, and we had a chat to some of the members of the team as well. Really enjoyable night, but we knew we wanted to get to bed because we were shattered. So we headed back to bed pretty early, but not before we did a stop off in that 24-hour tea and coffee station in the Borough Market buffet.
Unfortunately, because our next destination is France, the clocks had to go forward an hour.
Yeah.
So when Tom says we weren't that, it was 2 o'clock. From the Borough Market, we then headed back to our cabin and got ready for bed. I munched on the sausage rolls that I took from afternoon tea, and yeah, really, really nice evening.
What happened then was we got in bed, we were asleep, and next thing you know, there was a big crash in our room and everything had come off the table. There really was a lot of movement. The glass water bottle that's on the table near the window had come off the table, rolled under the bed. My empty cup that I had my cup of tea in earlier had also come off the table. It's probably the first time that's ever happened to us where things have actually tipped over. So it was interesting. We got up, tidied up and got back to bed.
A little bit of excitement.
A bit of excitement.
Never happened before.
No, but luckily for us, we have not felt seasick at all.
It's been fun.
Even though there's so much movement, we haven't felt anything.
No, nothing at all. So tomorrow then is another unexpected sea day.
As we said earlier, we're not arriving into Cherbourg until 7 p.m, so it will be a full day at sea.
So it'll be quite exciting to see what events and entertainment have been put on. I'm sure we'll have a little bit of a lie-in.
So we don't plan on getting up too early.
Thanks for watching our day in Cove on Ambassador Ambience. If you've got any comments or questions, just pop them in the box below and we'll get back to you.
And please don't forget to like and subscribe, and also hit that bell icon to never miss a video from us. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Thanks for watching. We've got lots more content available on our YouTube channel, so press that subscribe button. If you're interested in receiving daily updates, we're available on most social media platforms. Just search for Tom and Dom Travel.